Hi everybody, my name is Roger Richards and welcome to spiritualonline.org. This fantastic session that you're about to enjoy, we made contact with an Arcturian guide who brought through to us the theme of freedom. And with freedom, we're given several pictures which will appear in the meditation, but then a wonderful lecture, I guess you could call it, on understanding a way that we as humans can approach this theme of freedom. As you know, freedom's got many different connotations, different aspects to it. But this is one for our spiritual freedom here upon our earth and how to achieve it. So enjoy it, and I'll be back with you very soon. All right, so we're just going to focus on our breath to begin with, and we're just breathing in through our nose, and imagine that you are drawing the breath into the center of your head. And then holding your breath for about 3 seconds, that will do. And then on the out breath, we're just relaxing ourselves, first of all, emotionally, just trying to relax. Even a bit of anticipation, a little bit of nervousness from being on here. And then just breathing in into the middle of your head, holding your breath for 2 or 3 seconds. And then letting the breath out. And this time we're going to push out that last little bit of breath that's way down the bottom of our diaphragm. Make sure you push it all out. And as you're breathing in now, imagine you're actually breathing in light. You're breathing in light, and you're drawing light into the center of your head, holding it for a few seconds. And now beginning to relax yourself physically as well. We're going to keep the breath just going in through your nose, but imagine you're drawing it into your head, holding it, and then just continuing to relax on the out breath, just switching off from all the things that are in the outside world. We're breathing in light, we're breathing in spiritual connection, spiritual wisdom, holding it inside our head, allowing the light to permeate through. And on the out breath, in your own rhythm, your own time, just relaxing ourselves. And for one time in your day, we can release ourselves from the troubles or the pressures of our daily life and just be free of it. And in the next hour or so, we're just going to be honoring our soul and honoring our spirit. And the earthly stuff can take care of itself. Now, where we are sitting, we're sitting in a place that we will ensure is a sacred place. So the physical space that is around you, I'd like you to imagine that you are sitting in a space that is sacred. And it can be your whole room. You can imagine a field of light that is around you, a field of shimmering pure light. Now push that light right out into the corners of your room. And this is your sacred space, and you can project into your room a thought that this place, it's sacred, it's holy, it's protected. And then we just keep our breath going nice and rhythmically. And each of us are sitting in a place that is very conducive and appealing and welcoming to our angels, to our spiritual guides, to the highest celestial beings. And you can also imagine that there's like a connection or a portal that connects us all to like a big temple in a higher dimension above us. We're all linked together through this portal. And I will now just protect the space in which we sit and in which we are connected. So great divine spirit, I ask that you shine your light, your love, your protection, your presence and protection upon our group at this time. We give our acknowledgement to the presence of our angels and archangels other divine celestial beings who are here to help us and serve our higher good. And we also welcome in any of our loved ones in the spiritual world, but we ask that whoever comes to serve only our highest good. We can now also ask our personal gatekeepers or guides to protect the space in which we physically sit, so that the only impulses or the only images or thoughts or feelings that we receive from the spiritual realm come only from a divine source that serve only our highest good. And all other spiritual impulses or beings must leave your space immediately. Only the divine that serves your highest good is permitted in your space. Now each of you may set your own personal intention for this session, and I will set one generally on behalf of the group. Great Divine Spirit, we come for our soul and spiritual connection, that we may rise above the troubles of our life, the pressures and the limitations of our consciousness of it. May we receive illumination, healing, insights and intuition, that we may live our life with more enlightenment, with more understanding, that we may learn our life lessons more readily, that we may lead deeply purposeful lives, and at the same time bring love, compassion and light to all of the worlds in which we are connected. Now, some of us are here for healing, some for knowledge, some for divine wisdom, some just for social or spiritual connection. Whatever it is, may each of us receive something that will help us on our pathway at this time. It's always good just to have your feet flat on the floor, to have your back relatively straight, and of course be comfortable. And one of the gateways that we enter into this world from the spiritual world, is through our chakras. It's like a portal, a doorway between the higher realities, the higher spiritual planes, into our earthly domain. So we're just going to go through and make sure our doorways and portals are working the way they should. So above our head is our crown chakra, and you can picture above your head like a beautiful, soft, silvery amethyst colour. You may be aware of it above your head, and a gentle flow that is coming down through the top of your head, right down through your body, right down through your limbs and hands and feet, and out through the arches of your feet, grounding way down into Mother Earth. Imagine this flow travelling right through the centre of Gaia, our Earth Mother, back up through the arches of our feet, blending gently with the spiritual and allowing the earth vibration to connect to the high spirit. And here we sit, we're like the bridge, and we're sort of spiritual in consciousness and earthly in body, and our soul living and travelling between the two, housing our spirit. Now, just before your forehead, your third eye, and you can imagine a beautiful deep blue clear light. And symbolically we'll take a breath in through our third eye and imagine that we are drawing in psychic impressions, drawing in clarity, thought, that we may see everything in its truthfulness. and that our mind may be clear in its decision making and its conclusions. And we move down to our throat chakra, and you can imagine a beautiful turquoise vibration of light just before your throat area. And again, imagine taking in a symbolic breath and drawing in words of truthfulness into your being, drawing in the confidence or the fluidity to speak your words in a mindful way, and they're having your words imbued with spiritual wisdom. And other higher intelligences can flow also in through this doorway. And as we acknowledge it, as we give it its concentration, its attention, so it activates more fully. Now we move down to our heart chakra and the twin portal of beautiful light pink and a beautiful pastel green. And we can imagine around us our spiritual guides, our spiritual guardians, the great divine universe, even the presence of the omnipresent God, shining light and love down into our presence. So imagine we are being enveloped by the presence and the love of all of the divine, and allowing that love to wrap around us and in through our heart chakra, connecting with us right into the depths of our own heart. And then the warmth and the connection of the divine love, cosmic love, traveling through our body, warming our body, healing it, and the love of the cosmos through our body, resetting, replacing all the things from our earthly life which are not based on love. So we are divine creatures of love and light and harmony, and we are replenishing that as we envelop our souls in cosmic love. And it is healing and restoring everything that has been affected by the earth, which is not of love. And as we walk the earth, we shall remember to help replenish our souls here if we admire and take in the beauty of the flowers, the beauty of the ocean, the stars at night, and all the good things in the world, our friendships, our loved ones, and take the vibration of that consciously into our being. We can become beings of love on earth as well as in the spirit. Then we move down to our solar plexus area. I'm going to begin on the out-breath, and I'm pushing out any false impressions people may have of me or stereotypical views they may have of me, and just pushing them back out, clearing it away. And there's a beautiful yellow doorway, beautiful portal. And as I breathe in, I'm drawing in the essence of my higher self. Imagine that the vibration and the stream of my higher self is entering right into the center of my body. And within me is the courage, is the truth to stand in my own integrity, stand in your own integrity, being the light-filled person that you are, to speak your truth, to stand in your light, and to bring your love and compassion to the world. Now down to our sacral chakra, beautiful orange doorway. And here we are safely connecting with all the soul emotions of the world that we understand, humanity. We understand even the love of the animal kingdom. We can sense on a soul level into the world so that we can understand it and connect with it in a safe way. Understanding the good, understanding the trauma, but not taking it upon ourselves. And also, as we connect on this orange doorway, we're also drawing in our own powers of creativity. And imagine the powers of creativity streaming into your being. Now we move down to our base chakra, and here we can picture a portal of beautiful, bright, shining light. And as we breathe in through our base chakra, we can imagine that we are drawing in the vital life essences of the etheric world and drawing the life force into our body, our chi energy, our etheric energy, waking up, animating, empowering the physical element of our body. Now we can appeal and ask our spiritual guides or the Great Divine to work with us. Imagine or picture your energy field working in harmony, that all blockages, all hindrances have been removed. Any thoughts or feelings that have impacted you during the week, the residue of those are falling away from your energy field. So it is just spiritual light and nothing of the earthly heavy nature that you may have experienced. Just allow the heaviness to fall away. And allow the light to shine above your physical being. And as the light shines brighter and fuller, there's an aspect of warmth, of love within it as well. And it continues to melt away the coldness that you may have experienced, allowing that to fall back to the earth. Now I'm giving a picture that I'd like you to concentrate on for about 5 minutes or so. I'm going to lead you to this picture. So I'd like you to imagine that while your physical body is at rest where you are sitting, that there is a higher part of you that is beginning to stand up just before you, like your soul and your spirit. Imagine it just sort of floating a little bit from your seated position so it is standing just in front of you. Just like a warm vapor rising into the soft light just before you. And then I'd like you to imagine you're taking 10 steps forward, and I'll count them for you. So 1, 2, 3 steps, 4, 5, 6, we're starting to go downward now, 7, down a little step, 8, down another step, 9, one more step, 10, and then there's like a gate just before us. And the gate is easy to open, and there's a beautiful field waiting before us. So let's just push open the gate, and let's just little step onto the grassy field. And the grassy field, it is filled with light. It is soft, and a soft breeze is just, as it drifts over the grass, you can see the light shining off the stems of the grass, and the flowers just softly swaying in the sunlight. And we'll take a few steps into the field, knowing that we'll always find our way back to the gate. And we're stepping into the field, and before us is a field of perpetual freedom. It is a field of freedom. And I'd like you to imagine and explore the concept of freedom as it either is in your life, or as it could be in your life, or as you would like it in your life. So you can just contemplate this theme of freedom. If you wish, you can run through the field, you can lie in the field, you can smell the flowers in freedom. So you are free to do whatever in this field, but keep your mind on the thought of freedom. Keep your mind focused on this theme of freedom and being in this field of freedom. Block out any other thoughts, keep bringing your mind back to freedom. Okay, I'd just like to describe what I'm seeing at the moment, apart from the field. As I was in the field, there's a beautiful purple light that came in to the room here and has partially enshrouded me, just a beautiful soft purple light. And I've asked, well, from where is this light emanating? And there is a group on another dimension, I'd say fifth dimension, and the frequency is being described as an Arcturian frequency. And so it is from divine celestial beings of this high frequency who are bringing us this theme of freedom, and they wish to speak to us on this concept. My friends, we see you as light, and we see you as beings of light that have descended into a material world, and the material structure itself of Earth is that of lack of light, no light, for Earth itself, the substance of Earth, of rock, of water, etc., and those elements of Earth are without light. And so you have descended from a dimension of light into a field of relative darkness, a place without light. And as such, your soul has undergone such an extent. No matter where you travel, celestially, physically, your high spirit, that part that is your true self, your high essence, will always be that of light, for that is from where it is made, from that is where it is always connected, and to that it will always return. However, your soul is of a different nature. It is a vehicle from which you stepped onto or breathed into in your descent onto the earth. And so your soul has an earthly nature which is without light, and it has a spiritual nature with light. And as you descend to earth as a very young and as a very young child, the light of the Spirit and the light from the spiritual world is more present in your soul. But as the material nature of your earthly self begins to take over, as the outer senses, your vision, your hearing, your smell, your taste and your touch, also become your dominant senses on earth, your soul becomes more of an earth nature, that without light, until a decision is made within you as to how much light you would choose to have in your spirit and in your soul. And this is part of the concept or the nature of humanity and individuals having free will, because you have the free will to choose the balance or the polarity between an earthly material nature and that of a spiritual light-filled nature. The two can coexist together because you have descended into the world of material earth. But in doing so, you can consciously carry into the earth realm a higher impulse of light. And within the impulse of light is the impulse of divine wisdom, of divine love, and equally as important, divine will in what are the deeds that you will perform in your earthly life. Will the deeds that you perform imbue more light into the lightless realm of earth? Will your deeds of earth transmute and change your lower nature into that of light, to that of wisdom, of earthly wisdom, which will then travel with you back through the spiritual eons and dimensions and densities? And the more light that you bring into your thinking, the more light and wisdom and love into your feelings and into your deeds, the more of the experiences that you have on earth will be cultivated and imbued into your soul as a kind of eternal power and eternal substance, which is of spiritual nutrition for you forever. So within this light that you may choose into your life becomes consciousness or mindfulness, and into every decision that you make, you can take steps that will imbue more light into the earth and into your soul, or otherwise. However, the important point or theme that we'd like you to touch on is this theme of freedom on earth. We have mentioned free will, but how does this actually relate to your freedom as such? And it is this: your capacity to be free on earth in your life is dependent upon the amount of light that you have brought into your soul. For with the light is spiritual wisdom, with the light is spiritual will and deeds, and unless your earthly soul is consciously imbued with such substance, with such forces, then really you do not have the freedom. Because if your soul is not imbued with such, through the exercising of your free will, then you are not free to explore the spiritual heights and the spiritual goodness and the spiritual light that does prevail in your world or around your world. For you will not have the soul senses or the soul consciousnesses to explore, to perceive, to experience it. And so your freedom is therefore limited to living within the material, lower confines of an earth that is not imbued with such light. And as such, your freedom is in relative darkness. So your freedom, my friends, is determined by the amount of light, of wisdom, of consciousness, and of good deeds that are part of what is in your soul. And this gives you the power to exercise freedom, no matter what the circumstances may be in your life or on your earth. For through the power of your soul, your enlightened soul, your spirit may transcend any darkness which is presented to it. So may your soul always shine. May it always be filled with light, imbued with spiritual love and wisdom, and the spiritual strength to do deeds of goodness, so that your spirit will reign supreme, whether you journey to celestial heights or whether you journey to earthly depths, and indeed to the depths of other worlds, other existences and possibilities, to become the full you, conscious in all of the cosmos. And so the cosmos is really yours. The cosmos is your oyster, not just the world. And you'll be free to explore both. And you'll be free to explore the heights from which your Arcturian friends and others are watching over you with welcoming arms, welcoming you into our sacred space. And we look forward to you being with us from your earthly home whenever you choose. We are always here, we're always watching, we're always loving, we're always guiding, and we're always projecting light towards your earth. Many blessings from your celestial friends and family. God bless. Just allow the mood and the atmosphere of that presence to work within you. You may allow the colour and the vibration of the freedom fields to work within you. Just imagine the essence of the frequency moving right into your physical body, deep into your bones even, deep into your hands and fingers, even into your fingernails, into your deep inner organs. Imagine you're breathing in the freedom of the freedom fields. Now I just got this picture of us lying down in the fields. So I'd like you to imagine you are lying down on the soft, warm ground of the fields. And above you is a very soft light, like a soft sun. And above you is like a mighty bird of freedom flying, soaring through the skies, flying up almost as if it's flying to the sun and then flying back to the earth. This bird is a friendly, wise bird that can transcend all heights. And it is flying, landing right down next to you and asking you if you'd like to climb upon its back just for one trip, safe trip. If you wish, you can just imagine you're holding around the bird's neck, a very strong, powerful bird, and effortlessly it just scales back into the air as if just through the power of its mind, just gracefully drifting up, soaring up through the clouds, through the beautiful sky, up towards the soft light of this sun. And as we draw closer to the soft light of the sun, we realize it's not just the sun. It is like a portal. It is like the opening to a magnificent temple. As we get higher, we can start to see the temple, or a world beyond the sun. And what we thought was just a physical sun is really a portal to something higher, and we're traveling into the auric field of this celestial sun and coming into a place of light well above it. And the bird is slowly ascending now just onto the soft, cloudy realm of this holy temple. And just for a moment imagine the mighty home of the mighty archangels, other mighty angelic beings and hosts who are working from here like messengers to humanity. Imagine one of the angels coming forward to you, and they have a message for you. They ask you just for a moment just to step off the bird, who will patiently wait for you. The bird is also one of their messengers. And just step into this light-filled, cloudy realm. And then just as courtesy, we just bow before the angel, and the angel reminds us that they are here to serve us, they are here to help us, they are here to love us, but that they can only do that through your own will, through your own seeking and asking. And they are saying as well that their main task is not to provide everything for you, but to assist you more so in becoming the person that can provide for yourself. And this is the main frequency through which they will help, because they know who you are, they know where you've come from, and they know where you are going. And they know your times of need, and they also know your times of want. And for now they are passing to you like a field of vibration, a field of energy, a field of empowerment that will help you with what you need right now to become the person to manifest that in your life. Just symbolically within your mind, just extend your hands and absorb this through your hands. Imagine that you're absorbing it through your third eye. Imagine you absorbing it through your throat chakra, through your heart, through your solar plexus, and also through your crown, and also through your sacral chakra and through your base chakra. And you imagine that your whole auric field is becoming more light-filled. And the angel is saying to go in peace, that you may bring that peace and that strength into your life. And we acknowledge and give gratitude to our angel. And now we alight back on to this beautiful, magnificent bird, who also seems to have changed into a bird of light, a bird of many colours. And this bird now descends from this heavenly, sun-like realm. And as it travels down through the ether towards Earth, you notice that the colours of the bird change once more back towards its earthly colour, and bringing you back into the field of freedom, gently gliding, gently descending, landing right at the place at which it picked you up. It sends a nod of acknowledgement as it soars back up, and as you notice it soaring back up, you notice the light and the colours returning to it once more. And then we turn back from this field, back through the pathway that we came. And then we can see a little gate just before us. We open up the gate and we step up that little step. And then we start up the steps that are before us, number 10, and stepping up to 9, 8 and 7, and we're back toward our room, into our sacred space, stepping 6, 5, 4, 3, stepping through the doorway of our chakras, 2, right before our physical body now, and the last step right back in alignment to where we are sitting. And then very gently we just move back into our physical body, we're becoming aware of it once more. We're aware of our breath, we're aware of our feet and toes, aware of our hands and fingers, and feeling all the area in our back space, feeling our head and jaw and face, and now our front space. And when you're ready, just have a little stretch, a little wriggle, open your eyes, have a sip of water, and be back into our earthly zone. Pamela, you're up to sharing it all, or?
Yeah, that was really lovely, Roger. As we sort of connected, I was very much aware of Archangel Jophiel, and she's been working with me in the last couple of weeks. So it was really interesting because the fields of gold, I just felt like I was in a rapeseed field, and she very much works with the golden ray. And so it was almost like her presence was there all the time, and she gave me lots of beautiful words, and that was really lovely. But then as I went into the golden fields, I was there for a very short period of time, and I almost felt like my spiritual self had shrugged off a few more layers, and I was transported into the night sky. So I was sitting at night then. So majority of the time I spent, I was under the moon by a stream under the stars. And that was really special because it felt, and then I was like this luminescent kind of blue. I could just see my spiritual body like in a blue. So it was like, even though I was in my spiritual body in the fields of gold, It's like I took off a few more layers in the other field. And then I just spent like suspended, like there by the water. And I could hear all those words that you were talking about was rushing over me. And then I saw the owl that came to me. And then the owl flew straight up into the moon, and the moon became the portal for me.
Mm.
And then when I went into the portal, I immediately saw like the aurora borealis was the light that I saw. And that was like amazing because Archangel Metatron was there. And it was like the colors of the aurora borealis was just bathing my entire energy field. And it was like encompassing it, bathing it, transmuting it, becoming it. And yeah, and he was there, and then he gave me some words, and he said, you can overcome and go through anything with the speed of light. And that was really significant for me because there was a few things I was struggling with in the last week, and I was very emotional. And it was also coming up to yesterday was the full moon, and I feel like I was releasing a lot of stuff. But I feel like in this meditation, I released a lot of things, and he was there. And it was almost like the confirmation that I needed that yes, I can shrug it off and I can let it go. And then as I went up, the owl the owl turned into this magnificent white bird, beautiful white bird, almost like an eagle-eyed, like an eagle kind of bird, but I can't actually place the bird, they're white. And then I spent a bit of time with Metatron, and he was just there. And then when I was going back, it was like a white bird taking me back through the moon. And the bird sat with me, and he didn't turn in that dark place, that kind of place that I was in. He didn't turn into an owl again. He just sat in with me like a white bird. And then all of a sudden, when you said like come back to the fields of gold, it was like that entire space of the earth sky, night sky, and the moon was that kind of poofed, just like that, like folded into itself, and then I was just into the fields again. And then I wasn't, yeah, it was like the fields were basically, I felt was a portal to something more to me and wasn't the place for me. So that was interesting how it just kind of went in there. But the gold I saw even before we went into the fields, because that's when Raphael came in, and she was already with me, working with me in the golden light. So that was really mind-blowing.
Okay, well, and look, a couple of things. One of the lessons from this fitting you on here too is the meditations that I give are just a starting point. And say with Pamela was taken to where you needed to go. So you didn't have to hang on to what I was given. And that's fantastic, because we all need something a little bit different. And I can't multitask quite that much in one visualization, if you know what I mean. But the other interesting thing was, like, before I actually started the session, like, I was aware of, it was here, it's, the full moon's up in the sky here because it's a different time zone to the UK. So the full moon is very bright up above me as I speak. And I was sort of expecting to speak about that. That's what I was planning to do. But then I just handed over, and it didn't even come into my mind. But you still had the moon.
Yes, I had the moon, definitely. Yeah. And also, actually, Archangel Raphael, she's like, you were talking, but she was streaming words to me as well at the same time. And I mean, I caught snippets of it, but it's almost like she wanted me to talk, but I couldn't because obviously you were talking. But then I just remember what she said. It was just like, she started on saying, beautiful ones, because she works with beauty. And it's only because I started knowing more about how she works, because she kept coming into me. And I don't know if you recall, a few weeks ago we worked with, the stones that appeared was the citrine. And I feel like that was an entrance point of how she sort of started working with me, because citrine is also from the golden ray. And she just started saying, like, remember the beauty that you see with your eyes, your physical eyes. Turn that same beauty within yourself and see with your spiritual eyes the beauty within you. And instantaneously, you will shift your focus and your vibration. And that was a very strong message that came from her. And I feel that's a good message for the group.
What was interesting, when we had to go through the gate, I could see just purple light. And I couldn't see anything else, just the door, and behind it was just purple. It was beautiful. And you said then to see the grass, and I don't remember, I was forcing myself to see the grass, and then I was lying on it and feel the freedom. But it was just, it was funny how afterwards you said it's purple light everywhere, and because I saw it and it was amazing. And then I saw myself living somewhere and having a garden where were lavenders and chamomiles, and thinking about it, how beautiful they are, and not just beautiful, how useful they are. And then some trees, like kind of like growing my own food, and I don't know, it just was again freedom and happiness there. And then when we had the visualization, I could see images before you said again things. I could see the bird, I could see the bird flying towards the sun, and getting on the bird. Like it was again like you said what I saw, and I'm like, oh, what's happening again?
No,
But it was good.
no, it's fantastic, because the fact that you can see it before I speak it, it's good affirmation for you too, that your own clairvoyance and your own ability to see into these worlds is true, because I'm pretty much confirming, and you're pretty much in the same place. You've been able to ascend to the same place. So there's a lot of truthfulness and a lot of integrity in the pictures that come through, especially when you're seeing them. Before I speak them, you just know there's something a little bit more deeply happening, I guess.
And the meditation I found was quite nice and relaxing. And I just kind of had a question on like the difference between like spirit and soul.
This is the way I look at it too. Look, soul can be described in a number of different levels, but often it is more closely affiliated with our emotions and being able to deal with our emotions, Whereas, and how I see it is that the soul is like a vehicle. It is like the carrier or the vessel on which our higher self, our high spirit, can shine and do its work in its authenticity upon the earth. So how we, cultivate our emotions, how we are able to live our life in a certain way that our soul is relatively, I say pure, I guess, to allow our spirit to shine with it. Like, there's a very close connection between them, just as there's quite a close connection between your soul and your physical body as well. It's sort of like we're all one, but there's sort of, it's like what's the difference between your knee and your foot? It's still very much an integral part of the same organism. Does that help, or would you want a little bit more on that?
Yeah, I think I kind of understand. Like, I was just wondering if there was a difference at all. Like, but I guess there is a kind of a slight difference. Is that what you're saying? Like,
yeah. Well, your actual spirit is just pure light, just pure divine. It's a pure divine aspect, which cannot. It's pretty much indestructible. with your soul, it is there's a in esoteric terms there's a consideration that if you keep coming back to Earth, reincarnating on Earth, and doing all the wrong things and slowly diminishing the frequency or the vibration of the soul, it's not going to be a very good carrier of your spirit. So get to the point where it's going to be very hard to actually have a meaningful existence, really. And it's almost like that, yeah, your whole soul the frequency of it could just almost dissolve, so you don't really have any high spiritual consciousness that it can carry. But your actual higher self will never be tarnished. But the ability to be conscious and to be present in different dimensions, I believe, depends on the amount of soul work that you do. Just in your physical life, if you look after your physical body, you can carry out a lot more physical work on Earth. But if your physical body is injured or hasn't been cared for or looked after, it will diminish more quickly. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So the soul, it's more like the ability of a vehicle to take you to places. I'm trying to talk in fairly simple terms. Pamela, do you want to take it from a different perspective? Because the concept of spiritual, of your spirit and your soul can be approached, from, a whole panorama of places and aspects.
Yeah, I very much agree with what you said, Roger. I think the soul, like you said, with the reincarnation, goes from lifetime to lifetime, and it contains the essence of those lessons. But I think your spirit is the light body, but it's also the expression in each reincarnation. Did that make sense? So the soul learns all the lessons from other reincarnations, etc. But that essence of that soul is sort of comes forth in every lifetime. So how evolved the soul is with each of his lessons is how you would project and manifest the spirit in the current lifetime.
Okay, and just also think in terms of if you wanted to run a marathon, if you just went out and tried to run it straight off, you really wouldn't be able to do it unless you're going to cause yourself, an extreme amount of discomfort. So there's something that your physical body has to prepare itself to be able to do it. So there's part of you that's going to work on your physical body to get you to the point that you can run a marathon. Now, with your soul and with your spirit, and this is from people who do past life regressions, and they look at lives between lives, and they say that when we actually incarnate here at the moment, that only on average, about 17% of our high spirit can actually incarnate at the moment. And the reason for that is our soul is still in its relative infancy. Our soul does not have the oomph or the circuitry. It's like an electrical circuitry to allow our high spirit to be fully here. And until we work through lifetime and lifetime and lifetime, and now more consciously upon our soul, then we can start manifesting and do like seemingly miracles, I guess, in the physical world. But we're not quite there yet. A few individuals have been able to do that, but their soul has been prepared over a number of lifetimes to then allow the spirit to come through and work.
Yeah.
And
also I want to add was also the spirit essence is always the conflicting with the personality. So I think in every lifetime we sort of the ultimate, the ideal is aligning the spirit essence with your personality to actually bring forth the best or the highest part of your spirit essence, if that makes sense. Do you agree with that, Roger?
Yeah, and I was thinking of another little term, and I'm going back to the meditation that we had back about 20 minutes ago. And Sonia, I'll be editing and uploading this onto my YouTube channel, so maybe go back and listen to this part again. But in it, there was this picture of our soul. We get to choose. We get to choose whether our soul is going to be more imbued in the heaviness and relative darkness of earth, or within the celestial light. And the more that we use the celestial light, the more our spirit can be present to have more power to do things here. Okay. So just let that one sit with you. It's probably a little bit to take in. And if you come back on here next week or whenever, we can revisit it and then take it into another particular dimension. Okay?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay, so just closing our eyes once more, and let's go back to this picture that we are sitting in a place of light. We've got the light of our sacred space around us. Okay, here we go. We're at the stage where right now there's a full moon. I'd like you to imagine that before you is the sun just sitting on the horizon, and then behind you is the moon sitting right on the horizon. And the moon itself, like it controls our emotions. It is a force, a cosmic force, which affects our feelings. It affects the tides upon the earth. It affects the water body of the earth, which is considered the etheric body of the earth. And so it affects the water and the etheric soul of humans to a certain degree. And the moon itself, just like your soul, goes through the phases. It goes from the phase of the new moon, which is relative darkness, through the first crescent of light, to the half moon, to a much brighter moon, and right now the full moon. And then it goes back through the waning phases and back to the new moon. Now your soul is similar. There is a waxing and a waning of the soul. And there is the descent of the soul into the earth, into the darkness of the earth. And then there is an ascent of the soul back to the spirit world. And the difference between the moon and the difference between the soul is that the moon does not have freedom of choice, whereas you do. And as a human being, you get to experience the soul in all of its phases, from the phase of the deepest, darkest, to the brightest and most illumined. And all in between is possible. And a part of your earthly experience, if you choose, is to allow your soul to go through every phase of earthly experience, but at the same time with an intent of increasing the light that is within it. Whereas the moon can only reflect the light of the sun. your soul can imbue the light of the high heavens, of the great divine spirit. And the more that your soul imbues the light of the great divine spirit, especially in a place of darkness, then your spirit can reign supreme, and your spirit can be fully present, whether you are in the light of heavens or whether you are in the darkness and the depths of earth or other worlds. And you may choose how you wish to cultivate the light of your soul when you are journeying and living in places such as earth. And the more that you cultivate the ability of your soul to be full of light, the more you cultivate your ability to be more present upon the earth, to be more purposeful and more powerful and more potent upon the earth, to work in harmony with the divine and with all conscious realms of existence. And in doing so, you will achieve complete freedom no matter where you are. The freedom of spirit. Many blessings now. Just put our hands up for a moment. We'll just send a moment of gratitude to all of our spiritual helpers for the words they've shared, for the pictures they've given, the experiences we've had. Now we've opened up our chakras to different frequencies, so we just need to protect our sacral chakra, our lower chakra, so we don't pick up bad vibes from other people when we go back out into the wide world. So just put your hands over both your solar plexus and sacral chakra area. This is a symbolic gesture. You take a deep, long breath in, fill your lungs and your diaphragm full of air, then hold your breath. And imagine your solar plexus just resuming back to their normal size and speed. And on the out breath, we're releasing any emotional or psychic connections, any energetic connections that no longer serve our highest good, letting them all go. It includes from people you know, includes from spiritual impulses. And now just imagine a bubble of protective light around you. You can draw in the field of your sacred space around you, sealing in the goodness and also offering you the protection wherever you go. So thank you everyone